to the round before the Western Conference Finals. I mean, it's very possible. So that pick won't end up being any, high pick at all for the Lakers to take advantage of. But anyway, Kupchak spent 30 seasons with the Los Angeles Lakers starting as a player and was in his 17th as the team's general manager. Let me stop right there, man. Thank you to the great Mitch Kupchak. I went back and made sure and looked at the time that Kupchak had been the general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers, and we'll talk more about this, and we'll talk about this all day long. But do you realize that Mitch Kupchak has been the general manager of the Lakers for 5 championships, starting back in 2000? The man has been the general manager for the team for 5 championships. Mitch Kupchak did a great job. Mitch Kupchak, well done. I mean, I don't know what more to say than that. I'm going to talk more about it. I think he got a raw deal. Johnson confirmed to Spectrum Sportsnet later Tuesday that the search for a new general manager has already begun, which you pretty much know is going to be this Pelinka guy. It's not about quick, he said. It's about finding the right person who understands the new CBA because this is really important. The guy Pelinka seems like it's a logical choice because he should know the CBA like the back of his hand, being an agent and having high-profile players. He said he's looking for somebody who already has league relationships, and talking about Magic Johnson about the possible new GM. Jim Buss spent 19 seasons in the Lakers front office and was in his 12th as executive vice president of basketball operations. The decision to fire her brother was a very long, involved process that Jeannie Buss had been leading. Sources close to the situation said it was her decision, not Magic's, to fire Kupchak, Jim Buss, and longtime Lakers publicist John Black. Jim Buss has hired lawyers to represent his interests, sources said, but the provisions governing the family trust that owns and operates the Lakers very clearly gave Jeannie Buss the authority to make these moves. Damn. I mean, how does that make you feel as a man? How does that make you feel as a man if your daddy gave all of the responsibility of running the damn team to your little sister? He must think a lot of you. Here's another quote. He's like family with me, and he's worried about me, she said, adding that she and Johnson had dinner soon after. When he's talking about she was worried about me, he was talking about, or he was worried about me, Jeannie Buss was talking about Magic Johnson. Johnson and Jeannie Buss were asked how long it would take to turn the franchise around. And back to that Magic thing, Magic reached out to Jeannie Buss. When Phil Jackson and her broke up, and Magic Johnson reached out to Jeannie Buss, is the way that they put it, and basically said that he's willing to help. Now, I don't know. In reading some of the commentary and the way that the story is written, I'm not sure, and I wouldn't be surprised if I heard that Magic was hitting that. Allegedly. Right, allegedly. Right. I mean, based on the way the story reads and how Jeannie says Magic reached out to her and was concerned about her, it sounds like, and if you look at the press conference where it had the little interview talking about these new changes and Magic becoming, the president of basketball operations or whatever, I mean, it looked like Magic hitting that. That's all I'm saying, allegedly. Allegedly. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. Once again, that's allegedly. Just from me. That's just an opinion. Alleged opinion. That's all that is. Here's a quote from Magic. He says, I can't turn it around tomorrow or I really would be Magic. Footnote that. Bookmark that. Because I'm going to talk about Magic Johnson and Magic Johnson with the Lakers, man. And I've been a Laker fan once again since like the early 80s. All right? And this thing just ain't going to happen like magic. You see the title of today's show, it's just not like magic. It says, quote, "We're not trying to turn back the clock." Jeannie Buss said, "The Lakers have figured out how to win in every era, and certainly the game has evolved and the rules have changed. And we know in our discussions about evolving with the game and looking at what the modern NBA is all about. You can't recreate Showtime. This is about the future and about finding the way or the right team for the style that Luke Walton wants to play," the head coach. "This is about the future and about finding the right team." Okay? So, what that basically says to me, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, is the Lakers understand that they can't go back to Showtime. They can't do no triangle. What that says to me, based on the coach that they have right now, is they're trying to find a way to play a style of basketball like the Golden State Warriors. You know, that's in vogue now. The Warriors have had the success and run and gun and, all these three-point shooters, a more perimeter game, less focus on the paint and then the blocks. And they got their coach, who was an assistant, the first assistant, Steve Kerr, in a culture and a system in which that's what they did. And so basically what they're saying, they're trying to figure out a way to get pieces, draft, free agency, or whatever, they're going to help them play more like the Golden State Warriors. It makes kind of sense. I get that. I understand. Listen, a lot of people hit me up on social media, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, thinking that I would be totally, totally happy about this move. The best way to sum it up, man, is I am hesitant. I'm very hesitant, man. I'm very hesitant because I don't like the fact that it appears that Mitch Kupchak is out because of ineptitude, when that's not the case. Once again, he was the GM of this team for 5 rings. He didn't forget how to draft players. He didn't forget how to make moves in free agency. The man's been a player his entire life. The man is a very successful, or was a very successful GM for the Los Angeles Lakers, so I'm kind of apprehensive about that. And then this whole Magic Johnson thing. I love Magic, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I love Magic. Probably my favorite player of all time. I'm not a Michael Jordan fan to that degree. I've never been a Bull fan. I wasn't a North Carolina fan. I always say I put Magic Johnson 1A as far as the best players that I've seen play basketball in the NBA in my entire life. Magic is right there. I love Magic, but Magic is not a magician. That's just a nickname. That's just a nickname. And Magic coming in, I think he's a good businessman, so he's going to surround himself with good people. And he's going to surround himself and the organization with smart people. Obviously, with this Pelinka guy who's been an agent, a very successful agent, and once again, he understands the salary cap and the CBA like the back of his hand. That sounds like a legitimate move. There's also a tie-in between Kobe Bryant and bringing back Kobe Bryant to be a part of the organization because Pelinka was his agent. So there's a lot of politics in this thing. So I think great basketball players, could be great basketball minds, but, we've seen this before. Where, you might have been a great player, but that doesn't mean you're a great coach or a great GM. Speaking of which, Magic Johnson, I remember, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I remember when Magic Johnson, and I got the number right here in front of me, I remember when Magic Johnson came back to be the coach of the Lakers. They were in that little turmoil where they had coach after coach, and after the 1994 season, I think it was Randy Funn that we fired, and they brought in Magic Johnson for the last part of the season. And in 16 games, Magic Johnson went 5-11. Right. And everybody remembers that. Everybody remembers how excited Lakers fans were that Magic was coming back to the team, and Magic's going to be the coach, and he's going to win a championship each and every year. That's not the case. We've seen great basketball people in other jobs struggle. In particular, a guy that won some rings for the Lakers, and Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson may be a great coach. That doesn't mean that he's a good GM. As a matter of fact, thus far, he sucks as a GM. He sucks. So I'm very cautious in what I think about this, man. I'm hoping for the best. I like the fact that they're starting basically from scratch outside of Luke Walton. I like the fact that they are basically saying, listen, man, let's start fresh. I say this every day. I think I said it yesterday and the day before. The definition of insanity is, doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. So I like the fact that they recognize that they need to do something drastic, and they're trying to do it. Not sure about getting rid of Mitch Kupchak. It's not Mitch Kupchak's fault. As a matter of fact, when we get back from the break, I'll tell you about what happened and why the Lakers are where they are right now. It wasn't Mitch Kupchak's fault. It was the biggest case of bad luck and a couple of bad moves that I think were more so signed off by Jim Buss or seeked because of Jim Buss than more so Mitch Kupchak. That's what I would say. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. And all of this thing really aligns with the death of Jerry Buss. Going back to, maybe 2013 or whatever. When Jim Buss took on his role with the organization after his daddy died, it seemed like everything went wrong. It was him. Now, once again, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I'm not saying that Mitch Kupchak hadn't made bad moves, but I mean, his record is his record. I just talked about the championships that this man has been in charge of, okay? I have. But magically, when Jerry Buss died and the team was basically taken over and ran by his son Jim, who's the derelict, who his daddy didn't want to give full control of or more control rather than his sister. It seemed like everything went wrong. It seemed like everything started to be compounded. There's 4 particular things that happened with the Los Angeles Lakers that I'll talk about when we get back from the break. There's 4 particular things that happened. It was like the perfect storm. All right? There's 4 particular things that happened with the Lakers that I'll expound upon when we get back from the break, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. There's 4 particular things that happened, man, that led to where the Lakers are right now. Chris Paul. The Chris Paul deal. We're still trying to recover from that. We'll talk about that more in depth. The Dwight Howard trade. The Steve Nash trade. And lastly, and it may be the biggest deal, and the biggest reason why the Lakers are where they are right now, is giving Kobe Bryant all that goddamn money. Right. Giving Kobe Bryant all of that stinking money the last couple of years of his career when he had suffered 3 years, I believe, in a row, season-ending injuries. This basically, as a thank you to Kobe Bryant, we sacrificed the future and gave this man $25 million a year. It was bad. And I've never seen anything to the degree to which that deal was and what it meant to the organization going forward than that. We've seen people give lifetime, achievement contracts, but not to this degree. We've also seen the best players of all times put on uniforms for other teams. Why did the organization, and Jim Buss in particular, and they all agreed on it, so I'm not going to say it's all Jim Buss's fault. Why did the organization feel like they needed to sacrifice their future just to make Kobe Bryant or appear to make Kobe Bryant happy, or to make Kobe Bryant happy and giving him all of this money at the end of his career when you should be building for the future? But I'm going to talk more about him when we get back from the break, man. But those are the 4 things, man. The perfect storm. But what I will say is, today the Lakers have hope. New hope. New hope. New hope. So I'm going to try to stay positive, man. When we get back, I'm going to talk about those 4 things that I just mentioned to you and why the Lakers are where they are right now. We'll read your chat messages. I'm sure there's a lot of conversation about it. You have a lot of your thoughts that you want to put out there as well in the chat room on Spreaker.com. couple other things we'll get to today.